the mobile game. So there is a mobile puzzle version of both the Hitman series as well as the Lara Croft series. I don't know if you guys have checked it out. I can share the link later. It's on GitHub. Some of our early students actually made the puzzle one where you're moving the characters across the playboard like chess pieces, but it's very much like puzzle game. So it's a really cool project and a really fun game. Hitman Go, correct. That's the one. Hitman Go. That's the name. And I think they called it Go, and then they launched Lara Croft, Lara Croft version as well, and also called it Lara Croft Go or something like that. I remember Go. It started with Symbian OS, right? Yeah, you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely correct. Yep. Symbian OS was the OG. I started like the Java on Android. I've not built games on Symbian, but like native Android. Early in the days of Android SDK, like 13 years ago, something like that. Cool. So now have you got about the reminder message? Just have 3 more minutes and then we'll start. Any other interesting games? Oh, by the way, we have Malar as well, along with me. He's an ex-Outscal student, graduated long back, then went on to work in a game studio called DevTouch. He was remotely working with them. The studio was based in Hyderabad. And 6-7 months back, 8 months back, he joined Outscal full time because he was really interested in what we were doing as a community. So now he's working full time. So if you continue with the program or be present in the Outscal community, you'll see both of our faces way too much. So Malad, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, thanks a lot. So good evening, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining out orientation. So yeah, like I can say you one thing, the Outscale journey helped me a lot to become a good game developer. And I really loved being a student of Outscale. I really miss those days. Right now I'm working with Outscale. And once I was a student of Outscale, I really miss those days. And yeah, like overall, it was a great experience from my end. And then I got experience of working as a game developer in DevTouch. So yeah, like it was also a challenging experience and great experience. But overall, my main core motivation to contribute into the gaming industry in in similar fashion of the Outscale. So that's why I decided to join Outscale itself. So yeah, like that's about me for a short story. So yeah, like looking forward to meet you guys.
I think we have Manish here as well. So can you mute Manish co-host, please? And pin him. Manish. Yeah, Manish, I think you'll be able to unmute as well. Are you there?
Hi.
Hey, Manish. How are you? I'm good. How are you?
All well, sir. All well.
All good.
I can see a lot of people. I was not expecting that. Congratulations.
Actually, last time we did this, there were 150 people. We're just like 1 minute before the mark, so I'm hoping we'll touch somewhere around 100 once people start coming in, because a lot of people are working professionals as well. So I think we will just get started as well. Piyush, I think we can go live. Satam, we can start the records and all. So perfect. Good. So everyone, welcome officially to Outscale. Today, I hate this Zoom feature. It interrupts all the time. But awesome. So today we have a very special guest. I think we'll dive into the orientation part later, but this talk I was very excited about having. I've talked to Manish offline a lot of times, and today I had the pleasure of hosting him officially as a guest on the Outscale sort of speaker series. So Manish, thank you for taking up the time. I really appreciate it, and I'll try to be as efficient because I know you're super busy. But just a quick introduction for everybody. Manish is currently CEO of Nazara Games. I'm sure everybody knows about the legendary story of the game company, multiple decades in existence, and then now going on to do an IPO. So welcome, Manish. Any sort of opening words, and then I'll start gradually with my questions.
Thank you. Mayank, thanks for having me here, and it's for you. That's it. I really like you. I enjoy talking to you. So this is for you particularly. And to all the people who are fan of Outscal, Mayank is building something great. So yep, keep it up. I think my sound is low. Is that what the message I'm getting?
Yeah, I think the mic might be. It's slightly better now. I think because you're moving closer, so it might be the mic distance. That's all.
I will just do that. Is it better now?
Yeah, I think much better. Much better.
Perfect. So yeah, Mayank, this is for you, buddy.
So really appreciate it. So I think everybody today joining us is in some shape or form interested about game development as well as games as an industry and thinking about pursuing their passion in this industry, right? So and we are in a very classical position because India is now at the cusp of that inflection point where games are starting to become mainstream, right? You see people who are 45-year-old, 50-year-old having a smartphone and playing games like Ludo and a lot of like runner games and whatnot. We don't think ourselves about gamers per se, but we are still engaging with a good amount of time on games, right? So generally when people think about from a career perspective, hey, is this the right bet, right? How do you sort of advise young minds to thinking about building a long-term career growth for themselves in this industry as they're starting to take their first call in the industry, right?
I think, see, gaming has few roles. And I would say there are few roles which are very specialized, and there are few roles which are generic, right? Now, if you want to really kind of get to the heart of gaming, if you want to be a game designer, then you are making a call which is really a call which you should make if you're passionate about gaming. Because then you're slotting yourself right in the beginning of your career and saying that this is it. I come what may, I want to really be designing games and building games, and that's what I love, right? However, there are many other professions or functionals, right? You could be a good UI UX guy, or you could be a good engineer, you could be a good animation guy, graphics guy, marketing. Those are quite generic, and they are all relevant for any consumer internet company which you might really look at, right? If you're kind of really building a product role, in my opinion, and I may be biased, but having done this for last 12 years, and before that, having done other consumer product company, designing gaming as a product, in my opinion, is the pinnacle of a product manager. It's the joy, because the insanity of the consumer psychology which hits you is mind-boggling and mind-numbing, right? You may think that you are a really good product manager or a good game designer. In 3 seconds to 10 seconds, you will be brought down on the earth, right? And you may be coming from Rovio, or you may be coming from a small studio. Everybody starts with bloody the same thing. A new game, you start from the same thing. You may be better with your experience, but if somebody can tell you that I have made 5 hit games, so my 6th game is going to be hit, you can wish him all the best, and don't put money on him.
don't definitely bet on that kind.
Right. So from that perspective, I think 2 cohorts. If you want to really passionate about gaming and you have decided that gaming is my life, then get into a very specific game design, product management roles. Otherwise, you can be involved in gaming in a more generic functions.
Yeah. No, I think there's a very strong parallel to what I see is that a lot of game companies are now hiring talent from other companies as well, like your regular Amazons and Microsofts of the world as well, right? Be it from a UX, UI perspective. But then there is a very sort of a parallel world, right? Here, if you have user experience and user design, that kind of translates over a lot into strong game design elements, right? And that's where specific knowledge of gaming becomes very important. Uh,
I think gaming companies honestly have no choices in India, especially to not hire talent from outside because there are no colleges. I
yeah,
hope Outscale creates millions of people,
fingers crossed.
uh, and we all can really choose. Otherwise, all of us have a job of taking the talent, bringing into the gaming mainstream, uh, training them, and then losing them.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a very perfect analogy because I've been talking to so many companies and you've connected me to so many other companies under the Nazara portfolio. Everybody has the same problem that we have to first hire people from other industries, take the cost of actually training them internally for 3 to 6 months, and then only they start becoming protective. And after that, while they might get other opportunities with other game companies, and they might move away, right? So companies are like in dire needs of the right talent. They're just not finding it because of that very specific reason, like you laid out. There are no colleges, there are no institutions that are focusing on this specialized industry, which has very special needs. So how are you sort of thinking about talent and talent? Because talent fundamentally is something that becomes a bottleneck. And Nazara already has such a big portfolio of game companies, some focusing in early childhood education to late age across multimedia houses and all, right? So how are you thinking and seeing this talent pipeline evolve, especially given the Indian context?
My honest answer is that guys who want to do gaming, right, they should not join companies
Mm,
because to create a game doesn't require cost,
mm,
right? To test your early fun matrices, you don't require 5 million people, right?
correct. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I would love to see, honestly, uh, guys who are passionate game designers, product guys, graphics engineers. You need 4 people team, and then you can start your game. Uh, if you are 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, you don't have liability, and you truly want to live your gaming dream, make games, right?
Mm,
Uh, Today, the opportunities, if you are making game, is amazing. You have hyper casual companies paying you if they like your game, right? You have companies which are really like us wanting to invest in such startups and take funds,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But the key challenge is there is a perseverance because for you to get that right, fun matrices, engagement matrices, it's easier said than done,
Mm,
right? So if you're truly passionate about gaming and want to give 2 years, 3 years of grind, I would say don't join. If Mayank
mm.
offers you a job, don't take it.
No, I won't even offer. The only criteria we look for is, are you really
Correct.
hardcore nuts about this industry and passionate about it? Then only you're fit for the program as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I think age, no liability.
Yeah.
If you can have that, take that risk. This is the most easiest industry to really crack because the game mechanics is nobody's purview, nobody's prerogative.
Yep, correct. And I think I really like the fact that you highlighted that, you know, it's all about that inner passion and drive, right? Because that is something I talk about 10 times a day, that people who survive the long journey in this industry and build the career long road, they're always the ones that are internally motivated and not driven by external motivation. So
Correct.
people who either love playing hardcore games, they think when they're playing games, they're breaking the things down. Oh, ये game में ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? This game, why is this happening? Right? Like, why did the designer make it like this? The brain is always kind of running like that Mario Mario guy, and thinking about these kind of
Mike,
things.
honestly, I was not a gaming guy.
Hmm.
I was an FMCG guy selling detergents, right?
Right?
And when I got into gaming, exactly what you described happened to me because I just love the thinking on why such mechanics has been designed and developed. And when I looked at data and looked at the design, and I said, "Oh wow, this insight is really working. Oh wow, this insight hasn't working." And I used to tell in Reliance Games, when I really dirtied my hands on game design, I used to tell all people who used to join freshers that for 1 month you're going to do nothing. We have lots of QA devices. You will pick up those devices and you will just play games. And you will write, irrespective of which function you are. You could be engineering, you could be
Yes.
designing, you could be anything. Doesn't matter. Just write on what you like about it and what you think consumer like about it, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And to me, any function which you are associated, if you are not doing that, then you are just doing a job. You are not part of a gaming company. You're
Hmm.
not passionate about gaming. You're doing a job.
Correct.
Irrespective of whichever function, the joy of seeing and understanding and seeing your own behavior and reflecting is amazing, and that's what really has kept me alive and going in gaming industry for last 15 years. uh, and I will urge each one of you to do that and not get buried under the minutia of day-to-day task, sprints, uh,
Yeah.
agile scrums, whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that journey is still like a good 6, 8, 9 months away for most of the guys here to start really thinking about. Right now, they're thinking about, do I want to even transition into this career and take that leap of faith in some sense? Because my parents might be saying, "Hey, why are you going into this small industry?" Whereas majority of people don't understand how big that actual industry is, right? Uh, so I think uh, generally when you see people who are just making their first step and joining a studio, etc., right? How should they be thinking about in the next 3 years? How should like majority of people think about, hey, should I do 6 months in one company and try to switch to another and get different kind of experiences, or should I just stay for 3 years on a big project and that way I have something strong? So how do you sort of guide younger audience to think about their career roadmap
Mayank,
for the first few
time
years?
time is not the right vector.
Hmm.
It is not the right. It is the learning opportunity which you are getting in that role or in that organization, right? If you are getting right set of people who can play along with your inquisitiveness, who can really, if you should be inquisitive in gaming,
Yeah.
honestly, and you should not be worried about right or wrong question because nobody knows anything,
Hmm.
right? And if there are people around you who are appreciative of your inquisitiveness, and you can get few people who can explain you what's happening and why is it happening, right? I think that environment is priceless.
Hmm.
And if you've got that environment in which your exposure can be of variety of things through your proactive nature as well as through the process and culture of that organization, I think you should not leave at least for 3, 4 years till your foundation is very strong, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
However, if you are kind of stuck in a compartmentalized organization which says that we have given you this task and you do that, and then it's no different than any other engineering role or any animation role or
Hmm.
anything.
Hmm.
And if you feel that you are not getting by or what, then move out from that company. That's not a right gaming company.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the key here, if I have to sort of summarize that, would be like mentorship. If you're getting the right mentorship from within the company to explore the things that you want to explore and get your hands dirty with, I think then that's the right place for anybody to stay in. And like you said, I think time is not the ideal vector. Majority of people think in terms of time. They don't think in terms of learning trajectory, right? How is my learning trajectory shaping up? So I think
And trust me, if your learning trajectory is high in the first 3 years, your career velocity is going to be very high
correct. Yeah,
because what you have picked up will come very handy because there are very few people who will know after 3 years the kind of breadth and depth you will have.
correct. Yeah. So I think there are a couple of really interesting questions that have come up in the chat. So I'll just curate them as well. So one question came in as whether a CSIT person, non-CSIT person can succeed in the gaming industry, but I think I'll rephrase it in such key. How can a non-computer science person really excel in the game industry?
If you are fond of sitting in a mall and looking at people and trying to see what they are doing, you will be very good in gaming.
Majority of people will not understand. I think we need to elaborate a little bit on
No, if they
this
can't
context.
understand, they need to think.
So the similar example that I give is like airport watching. So if you are waiting in an airport lounge for your plane to board and you are watching other people, you're basically people gazing. You're gazing out in front of people, observing their pattern and making notes. Okay, we'll leave that as it is, and we'll leave it as a cryptic question for people to figure out. So if somebody is able to figure out, please share it in the Discord community. I'll give you an A star or something. I love it. Okay, good. Abhishek is asking, what are your general views on the console gaming ecosystem compared to mobile gaming, given India is very heavily sort of treated towards mobile audience first, but from the development side of the companies and the talent pipeline, how are you seeing that shape up?
So there are couple of companies in India which are doing game developments as service for AAA games in India, right? And they are the very large employer in Bangalore, in Gurgaon. And if somebody wants to really work on those AAA titles, today you have an opportunity to work from India while these studios are very big marquee names sitting in US and Canada and other places. I think that opportunity is there to learn and to sharpen your thinking because you are getting an opportunity to work some of the best IPs, right? However, if you want to build your own IP, your own product for console, I think it's a long grind, and you need to be really looking at the right product quality. There are a few examples which have come up in India recently, and then you can really figure out your distribution strategy on Steam platform and see, or PC or Xbox or Sony and Xbox platform. But I think I would encourage people to start first learning the ropes in console or PC based AAA title companies which are offering that before you kind of really look at creating your own full-fledged product on PC console, because the quality standards and benchmarks and the depth of the game is very different.
Yeah, I think one thing I'll add on here is there's a concept that I stole from somebody else. So please, like, there's nothing original. I'm just paraphrasing from Twitter. There's a concept called permissionless intern. Uh, that's something I really love and I encourage. If you like a game or a company, just go do something for them for free. Like, don't even worry about asking for permission. Replicate a mechanic that they have built and show them how it can be improved, or find a bug in their game and tell them how they can potentially fix it, etc., without expecting anything in return. And more or less, you will get something good in return, anyways.
Correct.
So I think that is something I really love. But yeah, I think this what I usually encourage a lot of people to do. Don't wait for opportunities to show up. Show up. Create your own opportunities.
So let me just finish off the. If you are wanting to build in India for India, then I would strongly suggest focus on mobile and mobile platform, because that's where if you succeed, you can succeed big, because anyway probability of success in creating content is low, and if you're creating for Indian market, you should create for mobile so that you can at least have volume and you can get then funded and all of it.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. Paula is asking, the gaming industry has so many different options, and if somebody's thinking about entering here, you have your developers, designers, artists, 3D, 2D, animators, etc. Right? So, would you recommend people to just like, how would you recommend people to figure out that within this industry, if they narrow down their scope? Fuck yes, I want to work in gaming. How do I narrow down my focus if I am, let's say, a generalist and probably can dive into
I will
anything?
give you a simple thought process. If you take a blank sheet of paper, and if I give you 5 circles on that blank sheet of paper to each one of you, and say you figure out what you want to do, you are in a gaming company. Some of you will create a story around them. Some of you will do a physics diagram, make a mechanics. Some of you will kind of fill those circles with a strategy of how to grow. So different people will do something different, and trust me, everybody will do something, right? That will tell you what is your true inclination. And if you are, like, say, somebody who really loves, who has made mechanics, right? You could be a very strong engineering plus, engineering guy who could build those engines. If you are somebody who has written a concept but don't know how to kind of redo it, it could be a good concept design guy. right?
Mm.
So fundamentally, since it's a passion, it's a combination of left and right brain. Figure out what you really enjoy and do it, right? Uh, if you could be a very good creative guy, but very strong in engineering, right?
Mm. Mm.
And you can think of game mechanics and you can make those prototypes and you can really figure it if you enjoy that kind of stuff. If you're a very good animation guy and who can visualize how will this mechanism will move, how will this character move, then really look at. So depending upon your inclination, your liking, you can really make choose which function of gaming you want to touch upon.
Yeah. Usually I ask students to try out a 21-day litmus test here, where the approach is like, let's say, like Manish mentioned, like if you want to think about animation, you have no idea what animation might be, right? But simply pick up some YouTube tutorial, etc. And for 21 days, just do animation. If you forget that the 21 days are over, then you know you love animation so much that you can continue doing it. And if you have not yet reached 21 days and you're already regretting, why am I doing this, etc., those kind of questions are coming up, you don't love it enough. It gives you a very clear idea, can I do something non-stop 21 days and still love it and continue doing it, etc. So that becomes a very hard limit for people to kind of box themselves in and say, am I able to do engineering only or design only and something like that. So it's kind of on extension lines of what Manish mentioned. Shikhar is asking a sort of a more broader question that now with sort of gaming, there are a lot of startups also that are coming up in the gaming ecosystem. At least personally at Outscal, we have seen like probably more number of startups crop up in the last 6 months than ever. Like, and it's really hard to get a sense of who's doing really good quality work, who's might not even survive the next 6 months, right? So from a talent perspective, when they're jumping into this industry and talking to so many young companies, how should they assess, and probably even like how you would assess if these companies are reaching out to you, right? I think the parameters to assess them in terms of good company versus bad company probably
I
at
think
same.
it's impossible to assess,
Hmm.
right? It's like Mayank can make a good movie, or Malhar can make it, or Sarthak can make it, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know. I'm saying that I can at best hear your story. I can hear at best your idea, right? And then I like your face. And then I say, okay, this guy has energy. He looks like committed. His story seems to be okay. Let's kind of see it. Because you really can't
Is,
decide it's a
is
good
that
company.
is that what you did in my case when we were talking about Outscale the very first time? You're like, this guy looks okay. We can talk fine. And
Well, that's exactly that's what I did because yeah, and I said that yeah, good guys, energy, right vibes, has right depth of thinking. Let's build rapport with him.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
So I think in a very early stage company, you can't really judge besides the founders, right?
Hmm.
And if somebody is joining a startup, spend some time with the founders, right? Affable, energy, approachability, accessibility, mentorship, which we spoke about.
Yeah, yeah.
Are these things which you can see it happening, right?
Hmm.
And if most importantly is there a kind of a family? Do
Hmm.
you kind of feel like spending 16 hours of a day
Hmm.
with these people? Because gaming 16-18 hours ke bina hoti nahi hai.
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
So can you really spend time like you will spend, maybe family is a wrong example for the youngsters. They don't like to spend time with family. So, but can these be your friends? Can these be your roommates? Imagine them as a
Hmm.
roommate, and can you live in the same room with them, right? I think in a very early stage startup of 4, 5, 6 people, look at those aspects, and then make a call.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's absolutely perfect. It's very hard to judge anything from the outside unless you start working on it. And I think uh, even if you get the right feeling, the right vibe, like Manish said, just give them 15 days and start working. Right? Tell them, hey, I'm going to continue working for 15 days. If I don't like it, I'm going to walk away. If you don't like me, you let me go. It's fine.
And if a gaming company guy does not agree with this kind of arrangement, then he's not the right guy.
It's probably not building it the right way and not thinking about it the right way as well. Yeah, perfect. So I think there was one more question I lost. Yeah, there's this. So somebody is asking regarding the AR/VR industry. How are you seeing the AR/VR play out? Because this is a reality or a future version of gaming that we were promised long back, but hasn't yet kicked off, at least from a consumer perspective, right? So what are the Like, is there any bold bet that you want to make regarding AR, VR?
See, as a technology, I truly believe the level of immersive experience which AR VR offers for gaming specifically, because ability for you to become a character in the game and play it out, especially in a multiplayer environment, is amazing. It's mind-boggling the experience which you can really get into, right?
Hmm.
I believe the commercial monetization of it is kind of limited with the whole hardware apparatus and the whole the cost of that,
Hmm.
because a true immersive experience means a very good quality headset, which is like your PC gaming, console gaming, kind of really creates a friction. Second thing is having something around your head. As human beings, we are not very comfortable, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It has to become something in form and shape, which is, if you take it on your stride, it's like Apple Watch,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Something has to become so part of you, so intuitive that you don't feel that you have to really get into a gear, right? And I think that techno innovation in the hardware form shape will make it a truly immersive thing, and then the commercialization of that will kick in. uh, for Nazara, such deep tech bet is not our cup of tea,
Hmm.
right? And we wouldn't like to take that. Um, we are more, as a company, more content creation company rather than such fundamental deep tech bets company.
Got it. But from an individual perspective, do you see like some pattern emerge for the future next 5 to 10 years in the same AR/VR
Yeah,
space?
5 to 10 years in such tech space is like fluke. I don't want to
Hmm.
kind of there's a thuk patti here.
Yeah.
That's like, but I'm very sure. I truly believe tech will deliver what we want. And the
Hmm.
experience I have had of the AR devices or VR devices and playing game, I think that is the future, right?
Hmm.
Do I know in what form, shape will it manifest? I don't know, right?
Hmm.
But I'm sure great brains, which are very R&D focused, will be working to make it happen,
Yeah.
because it's so natural for this to happen.
Yeah. And like Facebook has the dedicated team now working with Oculus and all, right? Who are always pushing the boundaries of what the devices can do,
Right.
and like making the devices sort of without battery, so without wires and all. Okay. So okay, I think I didn't see this question, but this one I'll add it from my side. Um, from a startup lens perspective, because I know a lot of our students are actually always thinking about, should I start my own studio instead of joining? Should I look at building a own proof of concept and getting it out there and see if I can get some early funding to start building a small team to get the full version of the game or app out, etc. So from a broader lens perspective, what are the kind of opportunities that you are seeing in the gaming ecosystem?
See, Mayank, India is a painful country for a
Hmm.
early stage risk capital in gaming.
Hmm.
And I truly want to solve that, right? Because leap of faith to take on a content is so difficult
Hmm.
here,
Yeah,
because you're not solving a delivery problem, you're not solving a some friction convenience problem,
correct.
right? And as I said, you have to just take a leap of faith on the persons and the team, not person, the team's combined capability to do that,
Hmm.
right? Uh, there are very early stage programs are not there,
Hmm.
right? And I believe as the industry evolves, more exits happen from gaming itself. The gaming companies, employees who have made money will support such companies,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And we as Nazara would love to do that. And we would love to very soon, and you and I can chat separately, how to really create a cadence, create a program where we can support
Yeah,
such ambitious startup, which it's always is going to be a good competition, because I am seeing huge number of startups coming in, right? Within that early stage startups, how can we really take that very quick bet, very fast bet,
correct.
give them freedom to fail, give
Yeah.
them long rope for experimentation. I think that's what I want to fundamentally do in this country, and
Hmm.
we can work together on that.
Perfect. No, I love to. Like, we'll definitely. I'll note it down and follow up with you
Yeah,
separately
you
on
can
this as
take me
well.
up on that.
Perfect. I think that, but that's not just even an India problem, right? India has a good amount of capital to be the right catalyst to solve that problem, but like having spent time in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley as well, I know there's nothing like that even in US, right? Nobody really like there are so many startup incubator programs and whatnot, right? But there's nothing around the gaming ecosystem. It's just complete silence. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in the
So
overall
which is
ecosystem.
why if you see the rich hall of game developers come from Europe.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because the kind of community support, government support which they
Exactly. Yeah.
get
Yeah.
is mind-boggling there. And it's no surprise that you have area around UK, you have area around Central
Mhm.
Europe, you have area around Baltic, Nordic,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you see rich hall of developers coming out.
And I'm surprised that so many EU-based countries have so many early stage grants for game companies to let them actually start building
Yeah,
games out, publish them out, and all.
yeah. In fact, few people I know have gone to Portugal and then they've taken advantage of the
Mm.
Portugal ecosystem as well as access to EU, and created a lovely startups or joined companies there.
Yeah, I think this is something that personally is my sort of long-term vision, that we should be able to, Outscal should act as that catalyst to enable a lot of the growth in the gaming ecosystem, whatever we can do in our farm. So
I agree.
I'll 100% take you up on that offer.
Done.
And I'll reach out to you very soon around
Yeah, yeah.
how we can think
Let's
around
lock it
something
down.
like
Let's lock it down next week and launch it here.
चलो परफेक्ट है अभी अभी ये वाला बैच स्टार्ट हो रहा है इनको तो ऑनबोर्ड कर दूं so but yeah perfect so I think in we already overshoot so I'll be very respectful of your time and really thank you for joining us. I think you threw in definitely a lot of bouncers for people to think about, but then I didn't expect anything less from you as well. So if anybody did not understand any questions, the recording will be available. Watch it carefully and ask me more details. I'll be happy to answer offline to you guys so that you are able to absorb. And there were a lot of really important kindles of learnings in there. If you go deep into like the airport analogy, observing people, a lot of those pieces would be really interesting as you think. So perfect, Manish. Thank you again once again for joining in, and we'll love to have you sometime again, maybe in months from now.
All the best to entire batch. Have fun, guys. Enjoy. That's what gaming is all about.
Yeah.
Take care. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Manish. Take care. Bye. All right. Perfect. That was fun. Okay. All right. So Malad is back on full screen. Thanks, guys, for joining in. Hopefully, there weren't too many of the bouncers, because I think Manish is a very senior guy, CEO of UTV and a bunch of other studios, last 6-7 years with Nazara Games, with the company IPO. So I think some of the more obvious questions regarding, can I take game development as a serious career? Karthikeyan, no offense, but like it wasn't a more appropriate question, so that's why I kind of skipped it. But I'll be happy to answer these questions as we continue. So, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Do definitely share feedback after the session as well. And now we will transition into our orientation. So, for all those who just current students and alumni who joined in today, you guys are feel free to jump off now. The recording will be available in case you might have missed something. But yeah, you can drop off now from the Zoom call, as we'll be continuing back into our orientation for Game Plan 15. Right? Perfect. Right. Thanks, guys. Good. So I'll just take a 1-minute water break. And we'll just keep them. Give me 1 second, guys. Meanwhile, I think we can stop the video and everything as well. Sorry, the YouTube streaming. Right? Good. If any of the alumni want to share their experience in that 1 minute, please jump in. Malad, if you can take that up, I'll just have some more.
Yeah, like just message me if anyone wants to share some cool thoughts. I will.
Just a heads up, clan 15 people can wait because we'll be doing the orientation from here. Other people like from our current batches till clan 14 or any alumni can jump off. But it would be great if clan 15 people wait around because we'll be starting with the orientation from here onwards.
Yeah. Clan 15 don't bounce off basically. Otherwise.
Yeah. Okay, I'm back. Okay, good. Satnam, can you stop the video stream as well?
We'll continue with the stream and the recording for the orientation session. We'll stop once we are into the breakout rooms.
All right, good. Okay, anything else before we need to do, or like before I jump into the orientation here?
No, we are good to start. Good to start.
All right, perfect. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Let me know if you guys can see the screen. Yes.
Yeah, it's visible. It's visible.
All right, perfect. Sorry guys, so first of all, apologies. My throat is somehow a little messed up today. So my bad, but here we go. All right, good. So welcome officially. Now we're starting the orientation. Before this, hopefully you had a fun, informative session. The session will be recorded. So if you guys drop in between, have internet issues, etc., miss out some pieces, don't worry. The recording will be available tonight itself, and you'll be able to sort of jump in and rewatch some of the relevant pieces that you guys. Meanwhile, as we cover the details, please add all your questions to the chat. As I take breaks in between after I finish a topic, I'll be scanning through any interesting questions that come up. Malar will be helping me with any relevant questions that are like really interesting, and we can quickly answer them as well. So continue throwing in no matter what question you might have in the chat. I already did a little bit of introduction, but again, my name is Manish Agarwal. I'm founder of Outscal. Whatever Outscal needs, from being a founder to a janitor, I pretty much do everything. I've been in the game industry for 11 years, 10 years plus now. Overall in the tech industry for 12 years, started my career with not game development, with a big finance company called D. Shaw back in 2009. And after spending a few years, I transitioned into game development. And since then, for the last 10 years, I've been working with studios in US, studios in India, Singapore, Dubai, Europe, across the board, helped a lot of game companies set up engineering teams, build a lot of high-profile games such as Transformers and some really strong Nintendo IP, along with your more regional games such as real-time multiplayer Rummy games as well, and a lot of local games to like Middle East and all as well. So I've worked across a lot of different industries and companies. Malhar with me here today. He's one of our ex-students. He graduated from batch 3. Right now we are on batch 15, so we've come a long way. And he's been with us now full time. He ended up working with a game company after he graduated, so he got placements. Then he left that game company and came back to Outscal to join full time as a mentor. So he'll be a mentor, host, guide. He'll be a friend and enemy, but I think I'll be your worst enemy in case you're lagging or not up to the mark. In that case, I'll be your worst enemy. Okay, so we'll do a very short exercise. I'll stop my screen share for a minute. I want to get to know the audience a little bit. We have like 70 plus people. So what I'll encourage you guys to do is two things. One, just quickly enable your camera for the next 2 minutes. Doesn't matter whether you are a phone or desktop, etc. If you can enable your camera, this exercise will become much more interesting. You'll get to know your batchmates and other people who are on the call, and I get to know you guys as well. So just come online. And the other thing that I'll ask as you do this is that you switch your Zoom screen to gallery view, okay, so that you can see the other faces as well. Okay, perfect. So Pranath got today, great. Everybody else is also popping in. Okay, awesome. I can see a lot of faces now. That's great. Okay, we'll just give it 30 more seconds and then we'll dive in So, okay, I can see the rest of the Outscal team joining in as well. That's good. So we'll do a very short introduction exercise, and this will give you guys a good idea of who else is on the call with us today. Okay, good. So very few, but I think we'll get started. Others, please feel free to join in. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna use your thumb. Okay, just lift your hand up, use your thumb, and cover your camera wherever it is. Okay. I'm gonna ask a question one after the other. Malak, I think you need to do that as well.
Yeah. I guess the view. Okay. Yeah, got it.
So just switch over to the gallery view so that you guys can see everybody. Okay. Jack, sure, Rakesh, Geeks area. I don't know your real name, so sorry. But yeah, please go ahead and cover your camera. Every time I ask a question, and the answer is usually yes, then you remove your hand from the camera and show us your face. Okay, that's a simple exercise. So let me do a quick demo. Okay, so cover up your camera, and the question that I am gonna ask, just ensure that if the answer is yes, you remove your hand. All right. So have you played PUBG today? No one played PUBG today. Okay. If I would have played PUBG today, I would have removed my hand. Okay. So hopefully now you get the point. Okay. So how many here already knew from a very long time that they wanted to become a game developer? Okay. Quite a lot, actually. That's interesting. All right. Perfect. All right. So next question. How many have played a mobile game in the last 24 hours? Everybody. Okay, a good bunch of gamers. Perfect. How many have played a mobile game in the last 6 hours? Okay, looks like maybe others are working professionals. Perfect. How many have played any game since we started this call? Oh, no one. Interesting. Okay, good. Wait, Richa is raising her hand. I think she's been playing at the same time. All right, perfect. How many of you have already been in any kind of a professional game development environment, be it an internship or a full-time job? Okay, few of you guys. Okay, perfect. Interesting. How many of you have actually built any kind of game products, be it a hobby game, etc., that you actually launched to the world? Okay, Rupesh is like thinking, should I launch it? Did I launch it? I'm not sure whether I launched it or did even somebody see it or not. Okay, cool. So few of you guys. Okay, perfect. And how many have, already decided that they're gonna do whatever the fuck it takes to get a job in this or get a start in this career? All right, perfect. That's the attitude I want to see. More faces. Nice. Cool, guys. All right, perfect. So hopefully you guys got to know a little bit about each other, short set of questions, and gives you a nice little take on. I would hope if others would have also joined in, but at least you guys get to see what others are interested in. All right, so now back to the deck. Let me share my screen again. All right, that's okay. All right, here. Okay, can you see my screen, the presentation?
Yes, it's visible.
All right, perfect. Let me open up the chat window here. Okay. What's up? Chat. All right, cool. So thanks again for playing along. This is something that we like to do a lot. Gets to know everybody really well. Good. So as we are starting today, our 7-day trial. Okay, hopefully the screen is loaded now. Just give me a thumbs up if the screen is loaded. Presentation is visible, right?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So during the 7-day trial, our key focus will be to give you guys as much exposure as possible in terms of what to expect in the next 6 months to come if you continue to join us in this full journey. Okay, so today we have a surprise event where Manish joined in, but that will be a repeat pattern every day. Every day, in the first 30 minutes, we will have some guest coming in. These would be founders from current game studios, people who have been established in the industry, sometimes our alumni who are now working in the industry, and they'll share their experience at Kickstarting as well. So the opening 30 minutes will always focus on an interactive session that gets to learn a little bit about people who are already in this industry. Okay. Tomorrow we'll be officially starting our journey into Unity world and doing a good introduction. Doesn't matter whether you have any kind of previous coding experience or not. It's going to be easy enough for you to get started. And for people who already know a little bit of Unity and all, there will be extra bonus for you to push further and take your mini projects that you'll be building even one step ahead. Okay. Day 3 and day 4, Friday and Saturday at the same time, will focus on building the first 2D game project. Okay. On day 5, again, we'll have a special event. This day will not have any regular session, but we'll schedule a special event, what we call as Clan Labs. It's a weekly Outscal thing that we do as a ritual where the entire community comes together, including a lot of the alumni as well, where I host this session and we talk about quite literally anything. And when I say anything, I mean anything except for girlfriend boyfriend problems. Rest everything else you're open to share. If you're facing problems with trying to balance college life with things that you want to learn, we can discuss that, and so on and so forth. So everything under the sun we cover in that 1.5 hour Clan Labs where everybody from within our private community joins it. Okay. Day 6 will focus on a C++ game project, and this will give you an idea of how we sort of think about building C++ into the curriculum as well. And last day we'll focus on interview preparation. So each day there will be dedicated topics that will cover dedicated elements, and you'll get a chance to get a full exposure in terms of touching on all of these topics that are super important in terms of getting the right start in the industry, right? It's not just about Unity. It's not just about data structures. It's not just about interview preparation. It's a mixture of all of these and how that will come in. Okay. So, so this will basically give you a good overview of how we do the overall learning across, all the different topics in the book. Right? Today we had Manish. Tomorrow, I think Joy will be joining us, who is one of our alumni as well. I think he joined in the next match after Malhar, and now he's working with PTW. Earlier, he was with Firebird VR, and now he's with PTW as a game developer. Friday, we have Dayanidhi, who is the CEO of Encode Games. If you guys don't know, Encode Games is the company behind 5G. So he's the founder and CEO. He'll be joined us on Friday. On Monday, we have Abbas, who is an ex-Zynga, I think, EA person. Now he's building his own startup called Completely. Funding, and they're doing a pretty fast games for the international markets as well. So I'll be hosting it. And then next week we'll also have who's one of the founders, who's the founder of Entrepreneurship. So the mic's picking up static. Can you guys hear me better? No?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, cool. Sorry. So Ankush as well, and Ankush will be joining in, I think, next Tuesday. But we'll share you every day who's basically joining in. But this is a tentative lineup, and I think there are one more person confirmed. The name just isn't there in the slide. So every day expect to interact with somebody new in the industry. Here are some of the examples of the success stories in the past. Fleming was in actually Malhar's batch, Setunath, Swapnil, these guys graduated before Malhar's batch as well. So they were from batch 1, batch 2, batch 3, and now they're working with successful game companies. Setunath is on the 4G team. Earlier, he was working with Ludo King. Fleming is with Mobile Premier League. If you don't know, Mobile Premier League is also a very well established gaming company now. And they've also raised around 100 million plus by now as well. And Swapnil is, again, another developer who graduated from the very first batch. He joined Game Shastra, worked there for a year, and now he's trying to build his own indie game company as well. So there are a lot of different successes in the gaming industry, some more as well. Bhavyam actually also was in Swapnil's batch. Now he's actually a mentor in Outscal as well. He was really excited about mentorship, and he came back as well. And now teaching some of the 2D and the 3D related modules. So alumni is something that we hold very closely, and they help us a lot along the way as well. Right now we have about 120 companies that are right now partnering with us from placements related pieces. This doesn't mean that we have candidates in all 120 companies, partly because we haven't yet graduated 120 people. So as a result, but right now, Simple recently hired three people from us earlier in this year. NPL I already mentioned. Jungly Games hasn't hired yet, but they've been always looking for talent. Right now, they're looking for senior talent. So in all, we have a good coverage of 120 game companies. And the only thing that we do when it comes to placements is that make sure that you meet the right criteria for a company, so that when we send out your resume, there is almost 100% guarantee that you will get an interview call back, right? As long as your GitHub profile is up to date, as your projects are included, all the things that we have mentioned as part of the preparation, those are done. There should be no chances that you're not getting a call back. Okay. So companies wise, if there is a meaningfully good game company out there in India, we probably already have a partnership with them. If there are new companies, I think I was mentioning this on Manish's call as well, there are so many new companies that are reaching out to us because they're just not getting any talent anywhere whatsoever. There are no BTechs related to game development. There are some diploma programs, but the quality is really bad and all. Apologies if you were in some of those diploma programs, but I've generally seen across the board that the quality is not there, at least what industry needs, right? I'm not talking about the quality that I set up a standard for, but what companies expect, right? So that's the quality that you need to beat, okay? Okay, so before jumping into the program overview, let me quickly take one or two questions here. So Chirag is asking, is the 7-day trial free? Yes, Chirag, there's no cost for 7 days. Whatever we are talking about right now, nobody has to pay a single rupee out of their pocket to do this, okay? Only after the trial, that's when you get to decide whether you want to continue, and if you want to continue, what payment options, etc. you want to go, I'll cover them in future slides. But till that time, you do not have to do anything in terms of any cost, okay? So the trial is absolutely 100% free for anybody to go through, okay? Karthikeya is asking, all the people with 7-9 were fresher or they had past experience? It's a mix of both. Like in case of, let me show you here. So Fleming, he had no experience. He was, I think, the final year student when he was going through the program. He directly ended up clearing MPL interviews, and he got a straight offer, his very first job offer, right? Swapnil was an indie game developer for the last 3 years. He was making his own games, but now he was not he really wanted to secure his financial position, and he wanted to transition into companies. So Swapnil had indie development experience, but he had not done any work with any companies before. Setunath had 3 years experience before, but he was working in his own like a casino-based company in Kerala, I think, before this. And for 3 years, he was stuck at less than 3 LPA job. And he was not able to break into other companies because he didn't learn what was really needed in other companies as well. The moment he graduated, he had 3 job offers. One was from Gamation, the company that makes Ludo King. He ended up taking that. And in 6 months, he had 4 or 5 more job offers. And he ended up joining Encore Games on the 4G team. And this is before 4G was really hyped up and popular. And I think he had joined in before itself. And after that, it became really, really viral. So it will be always a mix. At the end of the day, the only thing that I tell people is that only shit that matters is your skill. So if you know what your skill level is and you're able to break into the right skill level companies, that's all that matters. Nothing else matters. So from the look of it, Setunath and Fleming might be actually at a comparable CTC level. Of course, now we don't know what Setunath's latest CTC might be, because obviously he's graduated, etc. Right? He has cleared off all his dues and all. Like, he's not obligated to tell us his CTC. I only know his CTC when he graduated. So they would have risen up in their career much faster after that. And that's been sort of a constant trajectory. Minimum and maximum, Aman is asking, for minimums, usually it's hard to tell minimum because it depends on your own individual. But average wise, what we see is usually 5.5 lakhs to a 9 lakh. That's the range that 90% of the people usually fall in, that we normally see across the board, right? There will be people above the 9 wala mark. There will be people below the 5.5 wala mark as well, but it depends on where your skill level is and what kind of companies you're able to bring. Okay. Good. I'll pick up the other question in a bit. Let me come to the next pieces regarding the program structure. Okay. Meanwhile, just feel free to add in other questions. So the overall program is 6 months long. Placements usually are not something that start only after the end. If we see that you are a good fit for a specific company and companies are hiring immediately, we will be happy to push your candidature out. We've had students who had 3 years experience. Setunath was one. There are a lot of other ones as well. If they had the right fundamentals while they were working on the projects in the program, in the first 3 months, they had polished themselves enough to get to the stage where we are confident that they might be able to, let's say, break into MPL. And MPL came out to us and said, hey, we need candidates immediately, right? So whoever is available, please do share. We directly would share that person. We don't care if that person has graduated or not. If we see that they are at the right quality, they are completing their projects on time, they are active in their mentor sessions, they're asking questions and all, right? So if we see that quality mark there, we will push your candidature out before waiting for your program to finish. And Malhar is also another example where he actually had a job offer in like month 3 of like the 6 months program, because he was not waiting for us to push his candidature out. He started applying to companies himself. And we'll talk about a few more things that you will do as part of the program, starting like today itself after the orientation, that will actually change this equation, which is you don't have to apply to companies. Companies come to you, or at least most companies come to you. You still might have to apply to some, but a lot of the companies come to you, and we'll talk about how you change this power dynamics as well. Okay, so placements is like a fluid thing. It's not like 4th year ke baad hi hogi. It's more like when you're ready, we will push you out. Okay. In terms of time commitment and expectation, now this is something that we are very, very strict with. I will happily kick people out if they are not performing up to the quality mark. Our team is sort of, very serious when it comes to quality and commitment. Manish also mentioned, I also mentioned in the previous call, that people who survive in the game industry are the ones who are really, really passionate about it. If you're passionate about it, you should not have any problems with this time commitment issue. If you are facing time commitment, we are always happy to talk to you and figure out how we can make this work. But if you're not able to make this work, then it will be a problem, and you should reach out to the team to discuss that today itself. Okay. If you're from a tech background, we expect that you'll be spending 24 hours during a week. This will be obviously spread across. So you will have 4 days where you'll be spending 3 hours, and you will have 2 days, especially over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, where you'll be spending 6 hours. Okay. And this should be enough for you to complete all your assignments and finish up all your projects. Okay. If you're from a non-technical background, right, that means you need to learn your very first programming language. All that is totally okay, because at the end of the day, that's our role. Our job at Outscal is to teach you those things. We will, but we would need more time from you on a weekly basis. So for somebody who's coming from a non-technical background, expect that you will be spending about 35 hours a week. Okay. Commitment wise, that would look like 4 hours, at least 4.5 hours, at least on 4 days, and then 6 to 7 hours on both Saturday and Sunday. Okay. So that will total up to somewhere around 34 to 35 hours. You would need this much in order to be successful. Otherwise, you will have a hard time with the right kind of placements. Okay, good. So we'll cover both technical and non-technical elements. So people, if you are worried that I might not be able to present myself correctly on a Zoom interview, etc., or I'm not able to clear online interviews, don't worry. All those pieces do get covered because trust me, that's not a problem with you. That's a problem with a lot of people as well. So when it comes to technical elements, one second. When it comes to technical elements, we'll be covering Unity game engine. We'll be covering both Unity 2D as well as 3D. So you'll be building projects in both. Naturally, because Unity works on C#, so we'll be covering on the C# language as well. Along with this, we will heavily focus on C++ as well. Okay, so 3 months out of the 6 months will be heavily focused towards Unity and C#. And the remaining 3 months will focus on C++. Now, for C++, the reason why it's included is because you will have to learn data structures and algorithms. These are fundamental to computer science. And if somebody tells you that you don't need computer science in game development, please just give them a tight slap, and from my regards, because it's really, really important that you have very solid computer science fundamentals if you want to be a good game developer. Without computer science fundamentals, you can tonight watch a YouTube tutorial and do a Unity project, which is probably like something that you can finish in 2 hours. But I can bet my ass that with just that much knowledge, you'll be happily able to land a 10,000, 15,000 a month job, right? But if you really want to break into those tier 1 companies, your high league companies, right? You need computer science fundamentals. MPL and Jungly Games, all these companies that are paying 8 lakhs and above as starting developer salaries, right? They will 100% focus on computer science fundamentals, which will come down to algorithms, which will come down to data structures, which will come down to design principles. All those pieces are needed, even if you want to become a game developer, okay? Especially if you want to become a game developer. So these are the things that will be the same, irrespective of what kind of companies you apply for. And if that's the bar in terms of tier 1 companies, these will be needed. Data structures, algorithms will be covered heavily using C++. If you know any other language, great. We don't care. Those are more like add-ons. You will need to learn C++. Okay. I've had questions in the past that, sir, can I do it in JavaScript? No, because tomorrow a game company will send you a C++ coding test. You're not going to tell them, hey, can I do this in JavaScript? They'll be like, all right, sorry, rejected, done, end of story. So if you really want to qualify for the maximum number of companies, you will need to master both C++ and C#. All right. One more advantage that you get out of working on C++, apart from C#, is that it opens up opportunities for you that are focused on Unreal as well. If you've already learned Unity, you understand the game engine, you understand the fundamentals of a game engine itself, such as physics system, collisions, UI, draw calls, graphics, you understand those pieces, right? Those pieces are actually same from Unity to Unreal, right? You might be coding in a different language, but the core components of a game engine are exactly the same. So now when you are focusing on C++, you're learning a part of the Unreal system. If you ever have to jump into Unreal on the job, right, you are quickly able to take your knowledge of Unity and you're able to take your knowledge of C++ and jump into Unreal. Okay, and then you can learn Unreal on the job as long as you have those right fundamentals. So that's why we make sure that we cover in the 6 months both, because that maximizes your chances of success. You can not only just apply for Unity opportunities, companies that might be hiring specifically for Unity, but then you can also apply for Unreal as well. Okay, so that just make sure that you have the best odds of success. Okay. On the non-tech things, we will be focusing on things like LinkedIn, GitHub, interview preparation, resume building. All those pieces will be anyways covered, so you don't need to worry about it. In fact, LinkedIn is something that we'll be starting today itself. So during your day one of orientation, you'll get a sneak peek on how you can set up your LinkedIn account in a way and what kind of things you can do to maximize and talk about that equation where companies are now reaching out to you for job offers and you don't need to worry too much about applying to companies. Okay. So we'll cover that after this orientation. All right. Okay. Mentors are something that are very important overall towards the Outscal ecosystem. Typically, all your mentors are people who are currently working in the industry. So these are people who have experience in terms of what they are going to be guiding you on. Okay. So what mentors are typically people with anywhere 2 years to 5 years, 6 years experience in the industry in that specialized role. Okay. So these are some of the mentors for game development, right? These people are who actively work on game projects as their day job. They have a full-time job of a game developer or a Unity developer. Title could be anything, but at the end of the day, they're working with that technology. Okay, in a game company, could be in a non-game company, could be in a product company, could be in a service company. Does not matter what kind of company they're in, but they're working with that core technology. Okay, in this case, they are working with Unity as the core engine. Okay, so these people will be your game mentors. Okay. On the other hand, for the computer science modules, you will have people who are coming from hardcore CS background, right? I mean, all of them come from hardcore CS background with bachelor's in computer science and masters and all, but their day job is game developer, and these people's day job is software engineer, team leads, senior software engineers, and these will come from companies like Microsoft and like Amazon and blah blah blah, right? So we have a pool of different mentors who focus especially on computer science, and other pool of mentors who focus especially on game development. Okay, what mentors are not is important to understand. They are not your college professor. They will not stand on a whiteboard and teach you ABC. You're not kids anymore. When you are in a company, you'll be given a goal that, hey, go and fix this bug. I am a senior engineer. If you face any issues, come and ask me. That's how companies work. If you here in Outscal expect somebody's going to sit on a whiteboard and teach us ABCD of everything live, that's not going to happen. Okay? Because that's not how industry works. That doesn't mean we're not teaching you. We are, right? But what the mentor's role is, they are super busy people. Their role is to go deep into the things that you care about and the projects and give you feedback on the projects. We'll see an example of this during the trial as well as you dive into your projects and all. But point is that they're not teachers. They're mentors. They're supposed to guide you when you are stuck into problems. When you're working on your projects, you want feedback. These are the people who will give you feedback. You'll have 2 to 3 live sessions every week with the mentors. And the rest of the time, you'll focus on building projects, following the resources that will be shared. Okay. So the resources that we'll share as part of the project curriculum will include everything in terms of how do you start building those projects. As you're building those projects, mentors will come in, give you reviews, give you feedback on what you have written in terms of your code, your implementation, and that's how you'll get to learn on what mistakes you're making. Okay. So there is a very strong difference between being a mentor and being a teacher. They are professional mentors. They'll be able to coach you best when you ask questions. So ask a lot of questions. All right. So that's your role as part of this program. Ask a lot of questions. Okay. Malar, is there any questions? Can you scan through it, please?
Yeah.
Aman is asking, will I share the PPT after the session? Sure, we can drop it in the WhatsApp group.
There was one question. Is Unity enough to land a job in the gaming industry?
Yeah, so I think the TLDR version I already covered, which is Unity is not enough. It will happily get you a 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 per month wala job. But if you really want to break into tier 1 companies, 6 lakhs and above kind of pay grade, you need to do both Unity as well as data structures and algorithms. So those computer science fundamentals are super important. Okay.
The next question is, what are the things which might count into mistakes while making a portfolio?
Okay, so there's absolutely no mistakes in a portfolio. Every kind of project that you can add in is great. But one thing that you want to make sure is that you have absolute focus in terms of what you want to showcase. So imagine that you're applying to a company that makes hyper casual games. So your portfolio can have, say, 3 hyper casual games, 2 mid-core game projects, 1 very engineering focused project. Let's say it has 6 of these projects, right? Now, what you will do is you'll not change your GitHub portfolio or your portfolio website. It will have all of these 6 projects. But when you're applying to a hyper casual company or a company that makes a lot of hyper casual games, you will change your resume to showcase those 3 hyper casual projects that you made. But if you're applying to a mid-core company such as Jungly / Simple, Sumo, you'll highlight those other projects that are more important because these companies don't focus on hyper casual games. So your resume will change from company to company. Your portfolio will still remain the same because you will not go and delete projects from your GitHub, not from your website. Okay. But what you showcase to them is important. What you highlight to them is important. Okay.
Yeah.
Ravi, Kiran, you're asking what is an indie game developer? Indie game developer basically just means somebody who is an independent game developer and they're making their own games and trying to make a living from that rather than they're working with some company, right? So that's independent game developer, short for indie. But come and join in the Clan Labs. We'll talk about indie as a separate topic. It's a very interesting topic.
Which is better to learn, first Unity or Unreal?
Raman asked me that if we have time at the end of the orientation. It's a very big topic, but for now I would say Unity, and I'll try to explain my reasoning later. Okay. In future, can we add or focus on AI? Absolutely, why not? We already have a couple of our graduates who are now working with AR, VR companies, who are working with game simulation companies, and they are starting to learn AI on the job as well. Unity also has some component of AI technology as well. We can always marry that, right? So it's a really good question because one thing I missed to highlight was that the reason for learning Unity strongly and spending that much time with Unity and spending that much time with data structures is that it builds a strong foundational layer, right? And every time you think about building a house, right, you have to first lay down the very strong foundation. Otherwise, the entire house is going to fall. The entire building is going to collapse, right? So if you learn AR, VR, one SDK, Vuforia or something for AR, doesn't mean you are an AR developer. You just know how to use that SDK. Tomorrow I change the technology, you'll be like dead zero again. So you need to have the right fundamentals, and those fundamentals come from computer science principles and understanding the core of a game engine. How does a game engine work? What are the things behind it? Those people don't understand, right? And anybody can follow a YouTube tutorial to understand how to use Unity. But do you know how Unity works internally, right? And those are the things that you will need on the job to solve the kind of challenging problems that comes with building kick-ass games. Okay, so that's what you need to really dive into. While being a non-tech. Okay, I think there are a good number of questions. Let me get back to the beginning. I'll just scan through and we'll pick up once I take the next pause as well.
Yeah.
Cool. So joining this program is great, but it's not easy. I'm going to be very frank with you guys, because every time we start a batch, our maximum limit is 20. We have only last time taken in 21 people, that too with very sharp exceptions. But ideally, our goal is we never take in more than 20 people. And, when we started the call, there were like 100 plus people or so on and so forth. There will be a lot more that have actually not been able to join the call today. So goal is to find 20 really strong people who are very committed to building their career as a game developer and in this industry, right? So you should fundamentally have that never give up attitude and have that passion, right? You should be 18 years of and above. English communication is super important. This is something that we have seen in the past, that while we are here to teach you technical skills, we can't teach you English. So if that is something you're not comfortable with, please talk to the admissions team tomorrow to understand whether this might be a good fit or not. And it's not really from a perspective of not being able to learn game development, but if you want to pursue, a career and in terms of getting a job, if you want to do an indie game today, nobody gets, right? You can you should be very comfortable in whichever language you want to communicate, but it will always become a hurdle in building teams and in communicating across different teams and so on and so forth, right? So this is something that we are very serious about as well. As always, there's a criteria. During the trial, you will have to maintain 80% assignment completion rate and 80% attendance rate. Anything that falls below, you are in danger zone of not being selected, okay? So these are very stringent criteria. We'll be sharing you a doc today, which will have some more details around it. But point number 4, we are a game education company. We love game systems. As a result, you will be getting XP for everyday things that you do, both on attendance, both on your submissions. You'll be getting XP. And at the end of the 1 week, if your XP is below a certain level, you will not be eligible for the program. Okay. This will automatically indicate at the end of the week, the 1 week trial, if your XP is below 100, you will not be eligible at all, no matter what. Okay. So please make sure that you are informing the team if there are some emergencies. We understand you're not able to attend some sessions, especially for working professionals. That's okay, as long as you're able to communicate with the team and let the team know, I might not be able to, but then you're able to continue with the assignments and are able to submit the assignments. Okay. So these 2 things are super important. Communication will be very important as well. All right. We'll share more details in written format as well later in terms of how does this XP get calculated and all that. So don't worry about that for now. Okay. Good. So jumping into the fee component. Okay. So typically there are 2 ways in which you can think about the cost of the program: a standard prepaid tuition model where you pay upfront for the program and continue through the program, and then the postpaid model, which is also called as a income share agreement. Okay. So on the prepaid fund, which is basically the upfront model, right? The fixed cost for the program is 1.5 lakhs, okay, plus GST. So you can decide that you want to pay the entire amount upfront. If you want to, again, all of this decision you need to make towards the end of the trial, once the trial ends. This is not something that you need to decide today on, but this is something that you should be aware of. All right. At the end of the trial, you can decide that I love it, or I have the money, I can pay upfront. Go for it. Absolutely, we love that as well, and we can offer some kind of discount there as well. Okay, if you're deciding to directly pay upfront, because it helps us as well. Otherwise, we already partner with a lot of educational fintech companies as well. So there are options available for EMIs. Once you have started to make that decision that you want to opt for an EMI-based plan as well, anywhere between 3 EMIs to 12 EMIs, those kind of plans are available, and the admission teams will guide you accordingly as well. Okay, so you can make that call towards the end of the program. So these are fairly straightforward details. Okay. Yeah, so I think this is the same thing, just a different way of representing it. The postpaid option, okay, was, or basically is called income share agreement, short for ISA. What income share agreement is basically that you don't pay for the program upfront. Instead, you pay for the program once you've gotten a job. Okay. And the way you do that is that you'll pay 17% of your CTC on a monthly basis once you have started earning. Okay. So you graduate in 6 months from the program. 2 months after that, let's say you have started working already as a game developer in some company, and you're earning X CTC from, X CTC annually. So 17% of X divided by 12, that's a simple math. Now that's the EMI that you'll start paying to Outscal for the next 36 months. Okay. And there are certain more limits slash things, but I'll just come to that in the next slides. So for the next 36 months, you'll continue to pay that amount. The amount will change if your CTC rises, right? So if you start with 6 lakhs as your initial salary, but in 1 year you go to 8 lakhs, right? Then your calculation will change. Once you have been promoted to 8 lakhs, your calculation would be 17% of 8 lakhs divided by 12. That's your monthly EMI. So you'll continue to pay this for 36 months till you have basically met certain conditions. Okay. So the goal of an income share agreement is so that You as a person who is going through the program and us as Outscale as an institution, our goal is the same, which is to get you the best possible start in your career. This is a clear way of aligning that incentive, which basically says that we are right now responsible to get you a placement, right? If you don't get you a placement, you're not liable to start paying us back, okay? But obviously there are more details and we'll just talk about those, okay? So one quick example here is that if you are, let's say, starting salary is 9 LPA, right, on the higher side, in that case, on a monthly basis, you'll be getting about 75K. This is gross salary, this is pre-tax. Whatever the taxation in the company will be, it will be different. So assuming you're getting something around 75K gross, in that case, your EMI will come to 12,750. Okay. If your starting salary is 6 LPA, in that case, your gross income is 50,000 a month and your EMI will be 8,500 per month. Okay. If your CTC is below 4.5 lakhs, okay, in that case, you are not liable to start paying us back till the time your CTC crosses 4.5 lakhs. Okay. So 4.5 lakhs is the threshold below which you're not liable to pay us. All right. So 4.5 lakhs basically is 37.5K a month as your gross salary. If your salary is below that mark, right, that time you're not in a position to start paying us back. The moment it crosses this 4.5 lakh mark as your annual CTC or 35.7K as your monthly earnings, that's when your EMIs start. Okay. And it will always be calculated based on whatever your salary is. Okay. Now, typically, there are two types of applications that come into Outscale, right? People who already might have a CTC and are working professional, people who might not have a CTC because they haven't yet started working. It's their first job they might be looking for, or they might be doing some kind of an internship or something, right? So in the first case, when your current CTC is below 4 LPA, right, irrespective of whichever industry, whatever you might be doing, etc., doesn't matter, right? If your current CTC is below 4 LPA, in that case, you are eligible to sign up for an ISA, okay? This still means that you need to make sure your previous qualification criteria are met. Your attendance need to be 80% and your XP needs to be above 100. All those qualification criteria need to be still true. But the main point here is that if your current CTC is below 4, right, in that case, you're eligible for an ISA, okay? In this case, the minimum CTC on the ISA will be 4.5 lakhs. Okay, so the moment you get a job offer of 4.5 lakhs, that's when your income share agreement kicks in and your EMI starts. So you start paying back as you start getting your salary. Okay, I talked about this 36 monthly installments. So you don't have to always pay 36 installments, right? So if you reach a maximum amount of 3 lakhs, then your ISA stops. You don't have to pay anything more than that. Or if you reach 36 installments, but you have not yet reached 3 lakhs, then also your ISA stops. So out of these two conditions, once you have started paying back, if you have paid 36 installments or you have paid 3 lakhs as an amount, once either of these two conditions are met, your ISA is done and now you're free of your obligations to pay us back. Okay, so that's the broader criteria for an income share agreement. If your current CTC is above 4.5 lakh, 4 lakhs, sorry, is either equal to 4 lakhs or above 4 lakhs, in that case, currently you're not eligible for an income share agreement. Okay, you will have access to the upfront EMI plans, and the admissions team will guide you through that process in terms of what the options will be. So you can decide which ones of those are suitable for you once you've made the decision that you want to continue. The strong reason that we are making this change is that when we've looked at people who are already in that 4.5 lakh range, 5 lakh range, etc., what we have seen, usually they're able to take a good jump already. And because they're already earning, it is always better for them to pay upfront and still get that jump. Because so far, there hasn't been any working professional that hasn't seen a drastic jump in their CTCs after graduating. So if you're a working professional who's already at that 5 lakhs range, in that case, I strongly expect that you will be at a much higher pay grade, which means you will be unnecessarily paying back way too much in terms of your income share agreement cost, right? It will always be better because you're a working professional to take that 12-month EMI plan or something, right? 6 months, 12 months, whichever you're comfortable with, and always pay upfront because that will be a big cost saving. Okay. So in case, but still, like if there's something that you would like to discuss, please either drop an email or just talk to the admission team to figure out if there is something that you fall under a special scenario or something like that, right? If there are some special hard circumstances, we're happy to discuss. But if you're already above 4 lakhs, ideally you're not eligible for an ISA, okay? So after the 7-day trial, I know there are a bunch of questions. I'll just take a pause after I finish this and we'll come back to the questions immediately after that. So after the 7-day trial is over and you've decided that you love it, you want to continue working with Outscal and you see that this is the right place for you to build that career, few things will happen. One, you'll have to immediately do a 10,000 rupee initial deposit, okay? This is adjusted as part of the fee. So it's a non-refundable deposit, but it is adjusted as part of the total fee. So after you do the initial deposit, you can take your time to discuss with the admission teams, with your family, as to whether you want to opt for an upfront or an ISA. And accordingly, within 1 week after the admission process, we will be taking a break. So 7 days, we'll continue with the trial. 7 days after that, the classes will pause so that you can finish the paperwork. If you're going for an ISA, you finish the paperwork for the ISA, working with the admission team, provide all the documents that we need. And also, if you're going for an upfront payment, make sure that you are signed up for the EMI plan, or if you're going with the initial deposit, you do the initial deposit. You start with the 10K security deposit, which will get adjusted into whichever fee option that you're opting for, and then choose ISA or upfront, and accordingly finish up that paperwork. During that 1 week after the trial ends, that's critical for you to finish, because after that, the classes will start. If your paperwork is not done, you'll miss out on the classes, and that's where it will not be beneficial for you, right? And ideally, we've asked people to come back in future batches because they were not able to finish up the paperwork. So it's important that you finish up this paperwork within that 1 week, okay? Good. So if after the 7-day trial, you decide you want to do the ISA, everybody, whether they are doing the ISA, non-ISA, doesn't matter, upfront, prepaid, EMI, whatever it is, everybody still needs to do their 10,000 security deposit, which gets adjusted as part of the total fee. And then you start the ISA signing paperwork. Your parents and guardians would also need to complete the signature process. It's all online and digital, so you don't need to go anywhere to do anything. The admissions team will walk you through the exact process at that stage, okay? As part of this security, this ISA contract that you will be signing digitally, you'll be asked to submit a post-dated check. Okay, this post-dated check will be worth 3 lakhs, which is the maximum extent of amount that you will be anyways ever liable to pay. You're never liable to pay more than 3 lakhs. But remember, as much as like you take a loan from an SBI, they ask for something like a collateral that they hold on to. This is like that collateral in an educational loan context, okay? Even Outscal does not have legal rights to do anything with this check unless there is a clear violation, okay? And if once you get the ISA contract, it's a full 17, 18-page document. It will have all the conditions listed out as to what constitutes a violation, okay? If we are asking you to complete your assignments and you're completely gone and not responding to any of our communication, that's a violation. If you're not taking active part in the placement process and you're not improving your resume, and when we are pushing your candidature out to companies, you're not showing up on time for interviews, any kind of bad professional behavior and bad conduct that gets you placed into companies is kind of a violation. So broadly, those pieces constitute a violation. As long as you're on your good behavior, you're making sure that your assignments are complete, and you're performing well, continuing to perform well and not intentionally trying to bounce, right? In that case, those are not problematic at all. Okay. And in that case, this check will be returned to you once the contract is over. Okay. So the check is held by our legal team. They hold on to the check. And after that, if the contract is over, you have paid either upfront, ISA, whatever, right? Sorry, not upfront. This applies only to ISA, my bad. And you just submit this and finish up the paperwork. And now your ISA is done. You can join the program. Okay. For people who are joining in on the upfront plan, you will be shared a separate contract that details out the terms for the upfront agreement, very similar to how the ISA agreement works. But this is a very simpler contract. It doesn't have that many details in it. You will then be opting for either a full fee, the discounts are available that the admission team will share with you, or you'll be opting for an EMI plan. In that case, you have to close the first EMI before we kickstart the program. Okay. So that's majority about the different kind of fee options as well. Hopefully that's clear so far. Malar, Satnam, can you guys please help with the questions?
Yeah.
Aman is asking, what will offer salary by company as based on my current CTC? Aman, I'm not sure what exactly you mean. Can you tell us what your current CTC is and we can talk about it? Yeah, so Swagat is saying, if I'm not working and I don't have any CTC at all, am I eligible? Absolutely. That's falls under the same category of less than 4 CTC. 0 CTC is also less than 4 CTC, right? So if you're not working, you're also in this category as well, and you will be eligible for an ISA. Okay. As a non-technical person, what are the fundamentals I should focus on to pursue a career in game industry? RM, that's exactly what we'll cover. And that's exactly all the topics that I mentioned that we'll be covering, right? Unity, C++, data structures. So I just need you guys to make sure that you are present and doing the things that we are asking you to do. And after that, you'll be able to get the right career outcomes. The only people that struggle are the ones that are not following the directions that we're giving them. If you're telling them, please improve your resume, it's the same copy-pasted resume from internet somewhere. Guess what? 50 other people copy-paste that. Companies can get to know that immediately. No HR will pass you through. If you can't work on your resume, how will you ever show that a company that you will work seriously for that? So it's those kind of very obvious shitty mistakes that people do, and they think they're smart. Companies are smart. So please don't do those kind of things. The rest you should be fine. What is the criteria? I think I covered that. So Tamala, any other questions that you guys see?
Can we pay remaining X amount in one go, let's say after paying 3-4 EMIs? Question from Geeks Arena.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Are we talking about ISA or EMI? Can you please explain? If you're on the EMI, you can. If you're on the ISA, so a lot of people ask that, okay, once I get a job, can I pay the 1.5 lakh immediately after I get a job? Unfortunately, no, because what will happen is that once you get a job, and if you have not paid the fee, that means you're on an income share agreement. Let's say you're starting at 6 lakhs. Okay. Now 17% of 6 lakhs. So I'll just switch over to that breakdown slide, right? So here, imagine you got a job of 6 lakhs. Your EMI will be 8,500, right? So instead of just paying 1.5 lakh plus GST at the time you get the job, the amount that you would have to pay back would be 8.5K into 36, right? So somebody can quickly do the math as to what it comes out to be. But the total idea is that once you're on an ISA, what you're liable to pay is based on your CTC calculation. And then if you think that you can pay that amount in a lump sum, we'll be happy to work out some kind of a discount for you as well. Okay. Because obviously, that's also important for us. to continue to grow and bring in more batches and sort of help more people get places.
There's one question asking what are the major things that constitute under violation?
Yeah, okay. So majority of the things is usually, technical in nature in terms of things such as not finishing up your projects, not being able to, be present in the classes and dropping off from the classes, not having clear communication. We understand, especially with COVID happening, right? A lot of people had family emergencies. They had to relocate to their home places and all. So we have tried our best to accommodate as many, so those emergencies that are outside even your control as well, right? One of our ex-students met with a very serious road accident, right? And he's been completely on bed rest for the last 3 months. So those things usually don't cause a problem because we understand life happens, shit happens, right? So we'll try our best, but what we don't encourage and appreciate at all is unprofessional conduct. If the team and mentors are guiding you to improve your project and you're still not improving it, and then you're asking that, hey, my placement is not happening, that's a clear violation that you're not following the instructions that the team is suggesting you, the mentors are suggesting you, that your coaches are giving you, right? So those are the kind of problems that constitute a violation. If you've completely gone AFK away and you're not responding to any communication, you're not showing up in classes, you're not completing on projects, you're not applying for any of the companies that we are pushing your candidature to, etc., right? So those are clear acts of violation. The way you want to understand violations is that when you're signing an ISA, it's not just our job to get you a job, it's your fucking job as well to get you a job. And if you're not doing that, we can't do it. I cannot show up for your interviews and clear them, and then you join the company. You have to do that. And for that, you need to be prepared. So we'll bust our asses in order to make sure that you have the best interviews lined up. But you need to fucking bust your ass as well in order to make sure that you clear those interviews, right? So that's how you want to think about it. That are you busting your ass off in order to make sure that once we present you with that interview opportunity, you're going to make the most of it. Shit will happen. Sometimes you will fail in those interviews. Sometimes you'll do bad, but then we'll give you feedback on what you can improve. That all we understand, right? But not showing up, not doing improvements, not communicating with your team leads and your project mentors to understand where you can improve. Those are clear indications that it's a violation, okay? And those are just written in more technical terms in the contract as per what the lawyers suggest. Not my language, but I'm trying to explain it to you in sort of non-lawyer terms. Hopefully that got the point. Ravi is asking, are there any warnings given? Absolutely, absolutely. So we will make sure, because see, we are a small company. We are less than 10 people full time. We don't want to enter into legal battles. We are good at game development. We are good at building company partnerships to make sure that you guys have maximum job opportunities. We know education, we know community. We're not lawyers here. Nobody on the team is a full-time lawyer. So we don't want to enter into those messy elements. So we will try our best to make sure that we communicate with you and ensure that there are no kind of violations and inform you. But if there is, then we'll do whatever is legally in our rights. We will give you access to the income share agreement by tomorrow itself, the contract. So you guys should start reading through it as well. Make sure you understand each and every detail. All those details are even covered in great depth in our FAQ as well, because we want to make sure that we are 100% transparent. At the end of the day, we are not building 100 people batches every month. It's only 20 batches, 20 people. And we want to make sure these are like super 20, that every game company in India would die to get these 20 people in their teams. That's how we think about it. And that's how we want to aim. Okay. So I want to stay away from as much legal battles as possible, because internally the team does not have the capacity to handle that. Any other questions? Parva is asking, if I start an ISA and I don't want to go for job, That's a good question, Baba. Like I said, if you're under an ISA, you're obligated to get a job. If you're not getting a job intentionally, that's a violation, because that's a loss for us, right? It's like saying, "Hey, I'm sick. I want to get enrolled in a hospital and then not take my medicines to get better because I'm just going to chill here," right? So that doesn't work. So if you are really serious about getting a job, then only please opt in for an ISA. If you want to pursue indie game development or other elements, there are a lot of alumni that have done that as well. And they decided that, hey, I want to pay off my ISA directly because I want to continue working. I love what Outscal is doing. It made a tremendous impact in my career. And at a later stage, I'm deciding that I don't want to work with other companies. I want to build my own companies. And that's okay. I've built 3 companies. This is my 3rd company. We'll support you in whatever way we can. Even Manish and today we were talking about building an ecosystem where we can fund young game companies as well, right? So it's something in our DNA and blood that we want to do. I'm an entrepreneur myself, right? But ISA will legally bind you to get a job. So you will have to clear off your ISA dues if you really want to jump into doing something else. Otherwise, you're obligated to make sure that you're pushing your best to get a job. Okay. And that's where, an ISA becomes slightly tricky if you're not 100% sure, but you really want to continue learning the skill set. Then I would highly encourage that you go for one of the upfront EMI plans, because it will keep you away from any kind of legal hurdles and keep your mind free in terms of exploring while you continue to learn a lot of things. Manish told, right, like, let's launch a program next week. We might not be able to launch next week as well, but point here is that candidates like Swapnil, right, from our very first cohort, now he's building his own game company. I've helped him connect with game studios that are looking to fund indie game companies as well. So we go out of our way for people who are really committed and passionate to do the things that are not on the contract. But in return, what we expect is that if you have opted for an ISA, because at the end of the day, we're going to be committing time, money, and assets and resources to you for the next 6 to 9 months, we expect that you honor your side of the commitment. That is, you're going to push your ass off to get a job, right? If you're not doing that, then you're not honoring your side of the commitment, right? So that's where it kind of breaks. Do I need a strong mathematical background to become a good game developer? Abhishek, that's a very good question. Mathematics is super important when it comes to game development, especially things like graphics and 3D. And so all those pieces will cover, because we've gotten students in the past who are from, forget computer science, they're not even from engineering background. We've had students who are 5 years in the industry as a 3D artist, and they wanted to become a game developer because they've worked with game companies for 5-6 years, and they can see that their growth is stagnated. They can't grow any further, but they're seeing game developers doing really, really well, right? And they joined the program, and now they're working with game companies as developers, right? Some are even doing international work as well, remotely. So there are strong examples of those as well. At the end of the day, when we structured the design of the program, the goal was that it's for people who are really passionate about it. I don't give a fuck what background you come from. It does not matter. Whether you are from a BSc or BTech or arts or commerce, as long as you're able to give the time that I asked and you're doing the things that the team has asked you to do, you're good. You'll be totally fine. You'll struggle a little bit early on, but you'll soon start to get a hang of it. And the team and the community will be there to support you. You'll get the right kind of guidance. That's our promise. At the end of the day, you need to show up to do your part of the deal, which is learn and ask questions wherever you're getting stuck. As long as you're doing those two, you'll be fine. You don't need any prior mathematics background or computer science knowledge or even like basic programming knowledge. All those will be covered. If you're absolutely zero with any programming, there will be a bonus session held next week for those people who are coming in from zero programming experience. You guys can join in and get started with your first programming language. It's absolutely okay. Okay. Any other questions?
The interviews will be based off data structures and algorithms, question mark.
Good question.
Got
It will be a mix of both. You can expect questions from data structures, algorithms. You can expect questions from Unity. Very much like any real life, you should be prepared for both. And that's why we spent a good 3 months on just data structures algorithms, a good 3 months on just Unity, so that you are able to balance both of them out. Okay. Good companies will ask both. Shitty companies can ask anything. What else? Josh is asking, will learning in this program translate into animation and visual effects? AR and MR, I'm curious about the possibilities in animation and visual effects, especially with the current release of the Unreal Engine. So Josh, good question. Again, my answer is that this is heavily focused towards fundamentals. If you want to add on AR, VR on top, I'll happily guide you on how to do that. It will be outside the program context, but I'll definitely point you to, and the rest of the team will point you towards really good resources in terms of where to get started on those elements. But those will be more like add-on. I'm not sure if you mean animation and visual effects specifically from a coding perspective or specifically from non-coding elements perspective. If it's non-coding, no. The program is heavily geared towards programming. So if you're doing actual animators work, this is not going to be a good fit. This is pure play software engineering at its peak, applied to game industry, right? So, but yes, if you're talking about, let's say, visual effects, but on the graphics side, etc. So yes, you will get the right start, but yes, you will have to go deeper into those topics. And yeah, we can always guide you in terms of how to get more deeply involved in those. But that will be more like add-ons rather than something that will be covered as part of the core curriculum, because not everybody wants to go in that, and not every company wants to ask that as well, right? How much level of physics is required for game development? Raman, that's a very vague question, partly because some companies might not ask you anything about physics because they're not working on any physics-based game. Other companies might go into all the details about the physics of the game engine itself because they're working heavily on the game company. So whenever you're showing up for interviews, again, like I mentioned, that you need to customize your resume. You need to customize your, skill set in terms of what this company might ask because of the kind of projects that they're working on and so on and so forth. Okay. So it's more about just being very aware about your ecosystem and very aware about what that particular company is interested in and what they might ask. A lot of the companies, we internally already know what their interview pipeline is because naturally we work with them closely. So we always internally help the candidates with the heads up that, hey, first round is going to be a 15-minute phone interview with an HR. Once you clear that, the next round is going to be one of their senior engineers on the tech team doing a 30-minute quick Unity check. After that, you will get a 2-hour hacker rank style code test. That doesn't mean we'll tell you which questions will come because we don't know, but we'll tell you that the next round tentatively is going to be a 2-hour online hacker rank style coding test, and you better be prepared for it, right? So brush up your data structures and algorithms because hacker rank means just that, right? So those are the kind of know-how that we are able to share within the team. Some of it is obviously publicly available. The rest is basically separate, so you can get to know from the placement team, etc. as well. Okay. Why Unity only? Can we start our gaming career in AAA? Can we start? Absolutely, why not? You can always start your gaming career in anything. You can start your career in anything. That's not the problem. The problem is that how many number of opportunities are there and how do you realistically prepare for them? The reason why I don't recommend people to just fixate on AAA as the means to get started is because there are very few companies that might be working on AAA game projects. Okay. Remember, AAA doesn't mean just console. AAA is a specific level of budget, a specific size of team. And there are fewer companies in India, and you're just limiting your option to 5-10 companies total, right? What happens if you're not able to break into just those 5-10, right? That means that you give up and completely move away from the gaming industry. It's up to you to decide. But if you're thinking of a long-term career in the industry, I would not, that's not the right way of thinking about it. It's more like a staircase, right? If AAA is the eventual goal that you want to get to, you want to start building the right kind of steps to get to that level, right? AAA cares deeply about C++. So if you're not 10 on 10 in C++ data structures algorithms, AAA will be very hard to break in, right? So you will need to balance both Unity and DS, but you'll need to master the fuck out of DS, right? So it's those things that take time. And that's where you need to make sure that you are layering the steps. Even one of our alumni is Vinay, who was in our very first batch. Now he's with Ubisoft as a junior game developer. He graduated, he didn't start with the Ubisoft as the first job, right? He first got into Game Shastra. He was in game startup in Hyderabad. I forgot the name. Then he switched to Cozy Games, which was another game startup. They paid really well as well, really high in tier salary. And he worked with them for a year. And now he transitioned into Ubisoft. So the way you want to think about your career is that if you're on the ground floor, you're not going to jump to the first floor immediately, right? It's a long stairs. You have to build the right steps and the right layers in between in order to get there. Okay. How the funding happens in the gaming companies. Funding question is too long. We'll discuss this on Clan Labs. But do bring it up again, Ravi. It's a question. We'll cover it. If I'm making my own games, then can I get guidance? Absolutely. The mentors and the community at large on Discord is precisely for that reason, that you do not need to limit your options to just the projects that you'll be working on. You will for sure get guidance on those, but you can tap into a bigger community. There's so many people that have paired up within the community as well, because they got to know, oh, you're passionate about building RPG, I'm passionate about building RPG. Why not let's start a Sunday project where we spend time on Sunday building an RPG. So bringing the right kind of people together is what fundamentally we want to do more. Okay. Manar, Shikam, any other questions?
What if I want to do the program in middle?
What if I want to drop the program in the middle? Yeah. So if you want to drop the program in the middle, that will constitute a violation. And depending on how long you have stayed in the program, there are different terms that you have to abide by. But ideally, once you have signed the income share agreement, you are liable to pay the income share agreement. There's as simple as that. You'll have 1 week to review the full income share agreement. You'll have 1 more week to make sure that you finish the signing process. So in total, you have a good amount of 2 weeks to do your own research, talk to our alumni, Google enough, check LinkedIn specifically, because you'll find all our alumni / current students on LinkedIn, on our Discord community. So please make sure that you are entering into a serious legal contract. So dropping from it, unless there are very hard circumstances, is just not possible. You will be liable under the legal terms of the contract and liable to pay the entire amount if you have to drop out. So we don't want to enter into those circumstances. So you want to make sure that you really understand all the terms and conditions. That doesn't mean I want to scare you away. It's just for me to be completely clear that that you are entering into a legal contract that has legal ramifications as well. So I hope it never comes to that. But whatever it is, just make sure at any stage, the sooner you let the Outscal team know about whatever might be happening, the better it is, and you can figure out a resolution. But leaving in between is usually not an option. It will result in a violation clause getting triggered. As a result, you want to first inform the Outscal team if ever there is a situation. We can probably work something out, but ideally a situation that we want to avoid. Okay, any other questions? As I'm a working person, what if I'm not able to maintain the XP and all? Just inform the team every day. The team is very prompt in terms of communication. So you can drop in an email at admissions@outscale. If you're missing any class or any session, please inform ahead of time, not after time. Once you have been given a warning that, hey, you've missed yesterday's session, you'll not be eligible. Do not do that. Inform ahead of time as soon as you can. So in that case, you're always, we understand, like I said, shit happens. So we'll try to accommodate, but not doing assignments will not be excused. That is something that we will not be able to. You can get a little bit of bonus time if you're stuck with something, if there's some personal medical emergency or something. We will be able to give you bonus time to finish up the assignments, but you will have to do the assignments. If at the end of the trial, you have only done 3 out of 7 assignments or like 3 out of 6 assignments, and you're asking for another 1 week of grace period, sorry, buddy, can't do it. Because by that time, admissions would have closed. You'll have to reapply for the next cohort. Whenever the next client starts, they'll reconsider you, but you'll have to start from zero. So we're very strict on the quality, because that's the reason that we're able to get people like Manish to interact with you guys, because they understand that we're doing quality work and nobody else in the entire fucking country, forget the country, entire world is doing something like this, where people are getting the option of doing an income share agreement for getting a job in the game industry, right? So, so that's why we want to make sure, and I think Aman also mentioned this in the chat, that building the right projects is important. Quality is really important. Going deep into asking questions is super important. So those are kind of things that we want to focus on. Shan has his hand up. Shan, I can see your question. I'll just cover that. Is there any initial amount of money to pay for postpaid? What if I'm not able to pay? Any alternative options? Please discuss with the Outscal admission team. They'll help you and understand what the problem is and figure out if there is any alternative. But yes, once you have to sign the income share agreement or go for an EMI, you have to do a 10,000 deposit, which is your initial fee. Without it, it will not work. Shan, I'm going abroad for studies for game development for masters. Can I join Outscale and pay the income share while working from UK? Shan, unfortunately, that will not be possible. I've gone to US and done a master's program in game development, but this was 10 years back. So at this stage, I actually don't recommend anybody to do that. You can talk to our alumni who have already interacted it, but I'm happy to pick up this topic separately. I usually don't recommend at this stage going abroad and doing it. And secondly, you'll not be eligible for an income share because you'll not be in India. You have to be an Indian resident. You have to be in India for the income share agreement to be eligible. Because if you're in UK, you'll not be eligible for joining game companies if they want to ask you to come and join in Bangalore or whatever in 6 months from now. So that will complicate the situation and will not be able to offer an ISA in that case. Okay. What about the night shift? We just have to work on assignments, correct? So if you're missing classes, but you're able to continue focusing on completing your assignments, going through the study material, asking doubts, etc., that's okay, right? But you need to inform the team that you're missing assignments because it conflicts with your class schedule. You should still try to sneak in at least for the mentor sessions. That will happen 2 to 3 times a week. But the rest of the days will be hardcore team projects, working with the team to build the right kind of projects and so on and so forth. So in that case, make sure that you're able to complete the projects. If you're able to complete the projects, you're able to get the right feedback. Great, should not be too much of a problem. But I'll still encourage you to join in on the sessions. Okay. The recording will be shared in Discord. Discord and all those details Malhar will cover once we wrap up. But yeah, don't worry. You'll have access to it both in the WhatsApp group, over email, pretty much every time. Okay. Any other questions? I think we are hitting up on the 9 p.m. and we need to jump into the next part. Karthike, yeah, so just go through the trial. If you've completed the trial, you'll be eligible to join in the next clan, but we cannot guarantee when the next client will be, and whether the same terms and conditions might apply or not. Because we are also evolving as a younger company. We are only there for now 2.5 years. So some of the terms and conditions might change. As a result, whatever the terms and conditions for the future clients will be, you'll have to abide by that. But if you've already completed it and cleared off the criteria, you will have to still apply again, but we will take that into consideration. Okay. Classes will get recorded. Everything at Outscal gets recorded so that anybody who misses it has access to watching it, whatever the discussion they might have missed. Okay. So you'll all have access. English language is absolutely mandatory. You will not get placed in a high ranking company at a 8, 9 lakh, 10 lakhs LPA without strong English communication skills. I don't expect you to be as fluent like I might be, but if I ask you a question, you should be able to answer in English in a very clear manner. Fluently talking in English is very different from being able to communicate in English. The industry needs you to communicate in English. If you even get stuck while trying to answer and you fumble a bit, that's okay. As long as you're able to clearly say what you are trying to communicate and the other person is able to understand what you're saying. If I'm asking you a question and you're not able to understand that question 5 times in a row, whether you can speak cleanly, fluently, none of that matters. Okay. So it's not about how fluently you talk. It's about, are you able to communicate easily and are you able to hold a conversation in English? That's what's more important, because all your interviews will be in English. All your mentor session and communication will be in English. So that's where you'll face a challenge if you're not able to do that. Okay.
Game art, no, Abhishek. This program focuses on tech fundamentals.
Yeah. Ravi, you're under 3 LPA, so you're eligible for ISA. You don't need to worry about it. Okay. You don't need to do anything art. If you're a game developer, focus on being a kick-ass game developer, right? That's how you get into the industry. If you want to become your own indie studio, you need to know art, you need to know sound, you need to do etc. All those things are needed. But if you really need to get into the industry, you need to be kick-ass at doing one thing. Do not do 20 things and do them half-ass. Do one thing and do that really, really well. Okay. In this case, it will be engineering, computer science, game development. Okay. And when I say game development, game programming to be specific. You're not supposed to do art, Deepak. Either art will be provided to you as part of the template, or you can get free art if you want to spice up your own projects and make them look different. There are other ways to make your project look different through programming. You can implement shaders to take your look and feel of the project in a programming way very different. You can import a cartoon shader to make it look cartoonish, right? Etc. So you can do those things from a programming perspective. Wherever you need art, there are ample ton of free resources available. A lot of the basic ones to just get you started, we'll already provide so that you don't get stuck in getting started with your projects. But other ones, you will be able to work through free resources. Can we see projects on previously made by Outscal students? Actually, Malhar will probably share you some snippets. These are actually already available on LinkedIn. So good question, Abhishek. And you will be doing that as well. So whatever projects you're making, hopefully you will also share them on LinkedIn as well. And that's a very important thing as part of being any industry, whatever you do. If you really want to be a professional, things that we learn today in the next 1 hour will be important. Okay, cool. So I'm already overshooting. Sorry, Malhar, for taking up time. But we'll just take a quick 5-minute break. And after that, we'll come back in and Malhar will take you on a fun journey. It will be a surprise what it will be. But this is something highly relevant for every person. And it will connect to the pieces that I talked about regarding how do you change the equation where companies are reaching out